Hey guys, welcome back. Gonna do a little experiment today. Rattle versus silent crankbait. Something I've been meaning to do for a while. Gonna pretty much just go a generic pattern, paint them both the same. Yeah, we'll just see which one catches more fish. Alright, let's get into it. So to start off with, I bought a whole heap more of those basswood blocks, eBay specials. So they're all the same size. I'm just gonna weigh them, see which ones are the same. So obviously I want these two lures to be the same weight, behave the same. Once my scales work, 33.2. I probably should write on these, shouldn't I? Alright, so there's all my weights. I've got them laid out sort of side by side in order. Lightest here, heaviest there. So I think I'm going to probably go those two. Grain looks pretty similar. There's no knots or anything in them, so we'll run with those two. So now we've got our two blocks of wood picked out. 27.7, 27.5. It's pretty close. Two pre-cut bibs, same size. And we're going to work out what sort of profile we want. So that stencil film again, I don't know if I'm going to be able to draw on it, but I'm going to try. How big are these guys? They're 60s. I might keep something about the same size. Say 65. Oops. It's probably not square, but that doesn't matter. So what sort of lure shape should we go for, being that this one's a test? I reckon something like that looks good enough. We'll cut this guy out and we'll trace him up. I'll punch a little hole for where his eye's going. So let's get him traced on. Pretty generic shape, but that should work well. So there's my two blanks. Template. I always try to make templates. I keep them where possible. Just double check this lip angle before I go and start cutting everything. Looks alright. It's going to be a pretty deep diver. Jump on the drill press, drill these eyes, and we'll cut her out. Just thinking about it now, while this is square, I should establish where the rattle's going to go. It's a bad example, but so when a crankbait wiggles, wherever its balance point is. So if I try to keep the rattle chamber maybe there, tail screw eye coming in here, belly screw eye coming in there. I think I might drill that now. So if that's the case, I need to figure out how big this tube is I'm going to use for it. So this is a piece of metal drinking straw that I use for my rattles. Stainless. Exactly 6mm. So I'll bang a 6mm Forstner bit through that as well. Alright, so this one's just for the eye sockets. Now we'll drill out that rattle chamber. The drill bit ain't long enough to go through that. Alright, we'll jump on this bandsaw and cut them out. This time we're going to be super duper careful. Last time I didn't check the bib slots, I nearly cut myself. I forgot how fluffy this basswood is to cut. What a mess. Alright, let's draw top profiles. I just realised I was not recording. So I made me little folded stencil, trimmed her out, open her up, lay it down, trace it on. Alright, let's go and cut him out and we'll sand it. Looks pretty big at the moment, but he won't after we sand him. Alright, just had a quick tidy up. So those stencils you see me make, I always keep a hold of them just in case the lure works really well and I can replicate it then. The front of this guy is going to stay pretty broad. That's it, eh? Let's carve. So I'm just using this carving knife. From memory, this stuff carves real easy. Basswood. What's basswood actually called in Australia? Don't know. It says limewood. Never heard of it. Symmetry's close. The lines aren't quite accurate, but the symmetry's close. Which is probably more important than getting the lines close. Alright, so it's both of them. Roughly shaped with the carving knife. Now we're going to throw them in the vise and get them to their shape. Alright, that's a rough shape established. Let's sit down and hand sand. Alright, so I've cut a tiny piece of that drinking straw. You see it's a bit skinnier than that body. I'm just thinking it's going to be a pretty tight fit through here, so I'm going to get this tube in there to the right spot. That's sharp on the end. It's going to wreck the end of this drill bit, but a bit more. It's 3.5. It's 3.5. Beautiful. Alright, so that's that metal tube inside there. 6mm timber dowel. It's going to get glued in there either side. So this is a Tasmanian oak dowel, hardwood. Now the biggest question is which balls. So these are stainless steel paint mixing balls, just ball bearings. I was one of those suckers that bought them. And then I've got smaller balls, rattle balls. So to start off with, I'm going to try maybe 4 of these, 5 of those. Just see what it sounds like. Try the big ones, see what they sound like. Maybe just 2 of them, otherwise it'll be too wide. I'm going to go with those, I think. A lot louder. Glue them in with 5-minute epoxy. I have to do one side at a time so I don't glue the balls. I'll wait for that to dry, I'll drop the balls in, then I'll do this side. Alright, I got a bit sidetracked and went off on a tangent. Been a while since I filmed, so yeah. So I drilled the holes and I put the lead in. Trying Barnes's UV resin. Seems pretty good. So before I set this, I'll let it sit there and soak for a second. Try and get it into the wood a little bit. Got one of these torches too. It was a Christmas present, Secret Santa. Freaking awesome, works amazing. I'll wait for that friggin' 5-minute epoxy to set up before I can do this one. I don't want to tip it up that way and the balls get stuck in the glue. So the glue's had a bit of time to set up now. The balls rattle, which is good. I'm pretty sure they're both rattling anyway. It's hard to tell. You can see there I sort of went a little bit hard on the sander. Just making sure they're smooth. I'll seal up this lead hole and then we'll get that all sanded down. I'm still debating whether I'm actually going to glue the lip in now or do it after. Now I have to be careful around that because the plug won't sand the same as what the basswood does. For some reason, that little bit under there on both of them, I can't get it smooth. Gonna focus? No. I don't know why it won't go smooth. It is 400 grit sandpaper. Probably not going to matter because I'm going to dip these in poly anyway, so oil-based Carvathane Clear, so it's an oil-based polyurethane. Probably going to have to end up coming back out here in an hour or two and re-dipping these, but alright. So I ended up dipping them 3 times just to get it smooth across that. They're a little bit rough in spots, so I'm going to hit them with a 400 grit sandpaper. Get them ready for paint. Colour scheme's going to be a bit odd. I found a little stencil this morning and modified it and made it fit this lure. It's going to be a bit of a crawl pattern. Hard to hold that and show the camera, but you get the gist. So I'm going to start off with a white. So I've got the Eclipse HPCS out this time. A little notch in the back of that so I can line it up with the nail. And then I've got the eye notch on this side. So I'm going jet black. It's not that clean, but it'll do. I got this super duper old stencil. It's made out of real shit material. I just burn a whole heap of holes in it with a soldering iron. Spray around his eye. Splotchy. Found this guy online and cut it out with the stencil cutter. Tell you what, that took probably nearly an hour to cut that. Don't know whether I'll just run it straight up the back or what. Yeah, I might just run it straight up the back. Just has a pattern on the back, but it fades out to the side. I'm going to put more of that splotchy pattern in his shell. Alright, now I need to look at some sort of something up his belly. I'll have a look at me box of stencils, see what I got. Alright, another super old stencil from when I first started painting. I can't even remember what I've done that with. It's rough as guts though. I'm hoping I can bend it around the lure like that and it sort of somewhat sits flat. Hopefully none of that green transfers across. I'm only going straight up the middle, so it's not wanting to sit real nice. That'll do it. So next colour going down, not your typical craw colour, candy green. So I'm going to do between his shell and up his belly. It seems odd. I still think it's a bit odd, but see what happens. He's also getting green eyes, so it might work. In saying that, we probably should spray the eyes. So who wants to take a guess at the next colour? Purple candy. Hopefully it looks alright. That's better. I made this a little bit thicker. Give myself a bit more control. So that's sort of what I was going for, if it'll focus. Looks alright. That's where I'm going to leave him. It's not the prettiest looking thing in the world, but all these eyes, they're not as green as what I want them. So I'm going to give them a real light dusting of a bright green. That's been setting up for a while now. So I'm going to glue these eyes in. I'm also going to glue these bibs in, let it set for a while, and come back clear coat it. I'm thinking about trying out that new UV resin I've got. I'm not a giant fan of UV resin finishes, but considering this one's just an experiment, so it's only going to be for me, I might do it. Scuffed them up. I think I went too far again like I normally do, but that happens. You'd think after doing this so many times you'd have shit ready, but I never do. So there's no pupils in these, they're just straight up green. Alright, I'm going to mix up some clear. I went out and bought a brand new box, Envirotex Light. I've still got a bit out of the old ones, but the old ones are gone pretty yellow. So I don't know whether you can see the colour of that. She's pretty yellow. I'm pretty much just going to mix that up, set it and throw it out. I did say I was going to use UV resin, but I checked the weather and it's raining for the next 2 days straight, so I'm not going to be able to fish anyway, so I might as well do it properly. I normally drill a hole in these and put a syringe in them after a little bit. I won't do it straight away. 4 mil of each. New syringe. Don't be double dipping. So I'm going to put a tiny bit of sparkle in it. Got that much on the tip of a brush into 8 mils of epoxy. That's those epoxy pastes in Glacier. I don't think I ever learned my lesson either. It's literally raining right now. Literally beating that into a pulp. It's full of bubbles. Let it sit for 5 to 10 minutes. If I get the light on that properly, you'll be able to see those bubbles popping as they rise to the surface. Right, that's a lot of bubbles at the top there. Might just go for it and hit them with the oxy. Alright guys, we're going to grab these out of the box now and see how they came out. Hopefully they're good. Alright, these come out pretty damn good. Finish on them quite nice. Alrighty guys, I'm going to get the hardware into these. I'm fairly happy with how they turned out. They look good. So to start off with, I need a knife actually. So to start off with, I've got to cut this nail out. I cut it so it doesn't pull the epoxy away from the lure, which looks like I might have done a little bit. Fucking did real bad. What's going on there? That's super duper interesting. Super duper freaking annoying. So this is the first time I've ever used that oil-based polyurethane. That's still wet. That was dry on the surface. Both lures, same thing. Don't know what I'm going to do now. The power of YouTube, I could literally sit those that way and you would never even know. But I would know. So my plan is, right, I've cut them off smooth. I'm going to let them sit for a couple of days, see if it dries out that oil-based polyurethane, which I don't think it will. I reckon that lure is probably trash. We'll see what happens. I'll let it dry for a few days, then I'm going to touch up that tail, maybe dip it in some yellow or something. Maybe something that matches the eye, maybe orange, I don't know. We'll dip it, re-clear coat it, and then we'll go fishing. A little bit disappointing though. You can see I might start drilling that, and if that's all not adhered, that's going to rip it straight off. He's ready for it. That's a start. Mainly just doing this so I've got somewhere to hold them. Yeah, what a different turn of events that turned out to be. So I'm just going to clamp them up in the cabinet just so they stay dust free, or relatively dust free. Here we are, what are we, 2 days later now? Another 48 hours later. It's all dry and it sort of looks like it's not come away from the body at all under the paint. So I'm going to crack on and see what happens. So my plan here, got some iridescent white. Actually I might just do titanium white. So I'm going to paint around there. And then I'm going to splotch over some of this and give it a little green tail. So we'll see how that comes out. And there's that tiny smidgen that's left in the cap there. Will be enough, hopefully. Anyone else out there use that oil-based polyurethane to seal their wood? How long do you let it sit for? And do you do multiple coats? Because I think that's where I stuffed up. I done 3 coats. And I don't think the second coat was dry when I put the third coat on because I wanted to go to bed. I'm hoping this is the right colour choice, but so I'm just mixing up another batch of clear coat. I was only going to single clear coat these, but you're getting a double E now. Probably won't hurt because that first clear coat didn't come out the best anyway. Down the side of that one there's a few bumps and stuff, so alright, I'll hit him with the fire and we'll put him in the cabinet. Alright, let's grab these lures off the turner, see how they came out. Slight imperfection inside of that one. Right there. It's like an air bubble or something, but apart from that, he is beautiful. Alrighty, let's mix up some glue. Try our best not to get glue on our hands. Always happens. So a little tiny piece of 0.8 wire. That's what I use to try and get the glue down into the hole. I'll let him sit for a bit before I attempt to put the hooks and that on. Let that glue have a chance to set up. That glue should be set up now. Let's get these hooks on them. So I've gone for a size 4 treble. Seems to be a good size for the bass around here. Hooks on that guy, we'll get him on the other one and we'll put him on the rotisserie. Show yous. Alright guys, apparently I'm an idiot and I forgot to press record. So, here we are out on the dam. So we've got the Rattle versus Silent. I'm going to put the Rattle on the right hand rod, Silent on the left. As you can probably see, the water clarity's not great. The dam's been closed for a while due to all the rain we've been getting. If anyone's wondering why I got socks on it, so I don't get sunburnt feet. If you've never had sunburnt feet before and tried to wear work boots at work, it sucks. Alright, I'm going to turn this camera off and if I hook up I'll turn it back on. Guys, I am on. This other rod's snagged on a tree. As I was wheeling this one back in I got smashed. Feels like a solid fish too. I'm hoping that other lure just come loose because they float. This is a bloody horse. Yeah, big old bass, that one. Oh. I'll take him over to the bank and we'll get a photo. But that's on the Rattle. Should we measure him? He's a fucking big boy. Let's measure him. Guys, what a fucking horse. That is massive, eh? Let's get him on here. Tails up against it. Lay him down, maybe 51. Alright, 51, first fish in the morning. See you, mate. Straight under the kayak. That was a 51 on the rattle off a tree. One lure was snagged on the tree, the other lure I was winding in so I'd get the snag off. So now that I've found some fish and I'm in ideas, man, I'm going to go and cast the lure at the tree. I'm not even going to go real far. That's the tree there, but there's another tree underwater in front of it. There you go, another one. Another one on the cast. So rattle again. What we got? A little boy this time. Got another one, guys. 2 for the rattle. Let's see if it's just the rattle. Let's spin back around and we'll cast it silent for a while. So we know the lure pattern and size is good. Small bass and a big bass. Now we're just working on whether it's the rattle or the silent. So I'm just coming back up to where I caught those other couple of fish, up off that tree that's out of the water. The wind has come up a little bit. It wasn't supposed to come up today, but it has. Alright, I'm going to pull up here before I get to that tree. I'll pull up and have a few casts with the silent. Alright, we'll have a couple of casts with the rattle. I don't know what those guys are pumping over there. Sounds like they're stealing some dam water. Oh shit! I think he's got me in the tree. Fucking hell. Come on, kayak. Turn around a bit. Let's do this. Oop, done me. There goes that lure. No more rattle. Done me in the sticks. It's interesting. 20-pound leader. Clean cut too. What a prick. So if anyone's curious, 10-pound braid, 20-pound leader. Both these rods I'm running Daiwa J-braid. That's the Expedition, 10-pound Expedition. This is 10-pound, can't remember what that one's called. It's not the base one, it's the 8 carrier. It's actually the first time I've been busted by a bass in here. Assuming that was a bass. Let's go back and see if we can't lose another lure. So there's still fish there, I can see them on the sounder. Get out of that fucking tree! Got done. Got done. I undone me braid and everything. Tell you what, there's some big bass on that tree. Alright guys, that's me, I'm packing up. I'll see you back at the shed. Alright guys, I'm back home now. So I know the data set's not massive. I got railed before I could catch any more fish in the tree twice, lost both those lures. Yeah, I'm going to say that the rattle was the best. It wasn't until after I lost that one. I threw that silent one quite a few times into that tree and nothing happened. And yeah, the first time a fish hit it, freaking railed me straight into the bloody tree and snapped me off. But alright, thanks for watching. Catches.